Hello students, your subject Cost Accounting, Unit 2, Elements of Cost, Material and Labor. Today's topic, Material Losses. Students, before I give the explanation, first I'll read whatever written here, okay? After reading, then I will give the full explanation, okay? And students, you try to listen the full explanation in this video, okay? Do not skip the video, then you can learn something, okay? Otherwise that will be your loss, that you remember, students, okay? So let's start. Material losses may take the form of waste, spoilage, scrap and defectives. Usually the quantity of the output is less than that of the input because of waste, spoilage, scrap or defectives. Number 1, waste. It is defined as that portion of basic raw material lost in processing having no recovery value. The waste may be visible or invisible. Visible waste is that which is physically present. Example, ash, sawdust, etc. Invisible waste is that which is disappearance of raw material in the form of smoke, evaporation, etc. The waste may be normal and abnormal from the point of view of treatment in costing. Okay? Normal waste also known as normal loss, same thing, okay? So it is the loss which is unavoidable on account of inherent nature of material. For example, loss by evaporation of liquid materials, loss due to loading and unloading of materials, etc. This is the principle of costing, that all such losses are borne by good output. If normal waste relates to loss of materials, the treatment will be as follows. Materials are issued at an inflated price, that is, price higher than the actual cost, so as to cover the normal wastage. For example, if 100 CFT of timber is purchased at rupees 100 per CFT and it is expected that 5 CFT of timber will be lost due to seasoning, the inflated issue price of timber in this case will be rupees 105.26, that is 100 into 100 divided by 95 per CFT. Okay. Next, abnormal waste. This is also called abnormal loss. What does it mean? This type of waste arises due to abnormal reasons like inefficiency, bad luck, theft, fire, accident, etc. The abnormal losses are charged to costing, profit and loss account. The value of abnormal loss is calculated with the help of the following formula. The value of abnormal waste equal to normal cost of normal output divided by normal output into units of abnormal waste. Okay. Number 2, spoilage. Spoiled work results when products are damaged in manufacturing operations in such a way that they cannot be rectified and brought back to normal specification. Okay. Then point number 3, salvage, or you can say scrap. The scrap is discarded material having some values. It represents fragments or remnants of material that are left from certain type of manufacture. It is a material loss but has small value without further processing. Examples are trimmings in the timber industry, cuttings, pieces, etc. Next, point number 4, defective. This is the last point. After this, I will give the explanation. Defective. The defective products or units are those which do not meet with dimensional or quality standards and are reworked for rectification of defects by application of material, labor and or processing and salvage to the point of either standard product or substandard product to be sold as seconds. So these are the 4 points. Okay, now I will give the explanation and try to understand. Okay, so okay, then let's start the explanation. Okay, so first of all, students, material losses. Now question here that is, what is mean by material losses, or you can say what are the examples of material losses. So try to understand. I'll give one example. Suppose for a book publication company, okay, paper, ink, binding material, glue, staples, etc. are material items, right? Then big sheets of paper are cut in pages of small sizes, or you can say smaller size for the book. This results in trimmings. Some portion of ink evaporates and some portion of glue dry up as a normal part of the production process, right? While printing, it may so happen that the printout quality of some pages is below standard, right? While few other pages may come out blank. So these are the examples of material loss. So here it becomes extremely important to distinguish between cases of waste, spoilage, scrap and defective from cost accounting point of view. Okay, so let's start one by one. Students, if you talk to a layman, all those terms, that is waste, spoilage, scrap and defectives, will used interchangeably, that you will find that whichever felt like it was called waste, scrap, spoilage, defective. That means what? For layman, all those 4 terms have same meaning, perhaps same meaning, but cost accounting point of view, all those 4 terms, that is waste, scrap, spoilage and defective, have different meanings. Okay, so let's start. What is meant by waste? Waste material are those which got spoiled before processing. Means we ask for the raw material and kept it in the warehouse and cut the mouse. That means what? Spoil my raw material. What is it called? Is it called waste? Okay. One more example. Suppose we had ordered kerosene oil. There is some items that gets evaporated and keep will end. We order 500 liters of kerosene. When we started production, so we see that there is 500, there is no 500 liters of kerosene in my tank. Out of 500 liters, that means what I said. So we see there is no 500 liters of kerosene in my tank, that is only 495 liters. 5 liters have been evaporated. We did not even introduce the raw material in the process. Before that, my raw material got spoiled. That is called what? Waste. Okay? That means waste is that portion of basic raw material which is lost due to evaporation, chemical reaction, shrinkage, etc. Waste is that portion of basic raw material which is lost before processing. Okay, the waste may be visible like ash, dust, etc. Invisible like smoke, etc. It has the effect of reducing the quantity of output. Okay, the waste has no recoverable value. This is the meaning of waste. Next point, students, spoilage. Spoilage, there is the next point. Abnormal and normal loss that you understood, right? So next point is spoilage. What is meant by spoilage? Spoilage are those raw material that goes into the process, means labor, overhead has started in it. This is called spoilage. That means if suppose process is mechanized, that is made by machine, so where did we put the raw material? Put in the machine, and after putting it in the machine, okay, after some time we saw that my raw material got spoiled. Those raw material is not fully processed, that is badly damaged. It would not be right to make it a finished goods now. So what did we do through the process? We took out my raw material, or suppose we gave raw material, that is cloths, to the worker and told him to do cutting and stitching and make jeans. Okay, and he just made some mistakes in the cutting. If he did something wrong with the cutting itself, then now you tell me it would be okay to make jeans next? Of course not. If the cutting itself goes wrong, so now there is no point in processing. So what did we do? We remove that shattered cloth from the process. That is called spoilage. That means spoilage is the material damage in the processing process in a way that it cannot be rectified or brought back to normal specification. That means spoilage is that raw material which is badly damaged during manufacturing operations and taken out of process. Example, substandard quality printout. Okay, the spoilage may have a realizable value and in some cases is sold as seconds. Okay, so this is the meaning of spoilage. That is next point, salvage, that is the scrap. Okay, now what is meant by scrap? What is meant by salvage? The students, whenever we process the raw material, that is through process, take out the raw material, right? So we can also realize some scrap value of that raw material. The scrap value that we can realize, that is called salvage. That is called what? Salvage or scrap. That means what? Scrap is the incidental residue of a small amount and low value, recoverable without further processing. Example like trimmings of garments, cuttings of timber. Okay, these are the examples of salvage or scrap. That means material retrieved from spoilage is known as what? Salvage. Got it? So these are the 3 points. The next, the last point, that is the defective. Actually, students, defective units are finished goods. Okay, suppose something went wrong during the process, but we thought the jumble up was not that big, that we will not be able to sell finished goods. So we said, let it to be made. If we sell 1 unit of finished goods, suppose for rupees 500, so that finished goods will not be able to sell for rupees 500, because some fault has already happened in becoming. So how much will it sell for? Tell me. Suppose rupees 300 will be sold. So we have completed the whole process. So if I have commodity like that, that is called what? That is called what? That is called defective. That is called defective. Understood? So these are the 4 terms related to the material loss. Okay? So I hope everyone understands. So thank you so much for today. And students, after that I'm going to explain, that is the next topic, lever, from the same unit, unit number 2. Okay, so thank you so much for today.